And then there's crime. No topic has been the focus of this hearing more than her record on crime, and her record on crime is out of the mainstream. Her record on crime is extreme. Now, our Democratic colleagues have responded with a straw man. They've responded saying, well, judges all over the country sentence below the guidelines. When you look at her record, it's not just below the guidelines, though. In 100% of the child pornography cases where Judge Jackson had discretion, 100%, she sentenced not just below the guidelines, but below where the prosecutor asked, and usually substantially below. But my colleagues say everybody does it. That's their defense. Everybody does it. Well, let's look at the facts. In criminal cases nationally, this is all criminal cases nationally. If you compare Judge Jackson's record in criminal cases nationally, her average sentence is 29.9 months. The national average is 45.1 months. So that's all crimes, murder, rape, anything that's a crime, all of them on the national statistics. She sentences a third lower than the national average. The Democrats' argument, everybody does it, doesn't stand up to the scrutiny. But when you look in particular at child pornography, a topic that is disturbing, the Democrats say, well, gosh, she doesn't like child pornography. Of course she doesn't. No rational person does. It's horrible. My Democratic colleagues go to the Senate floor and they read from her statements talking about these are not victimless crimes. These are little boys and little girls being horribly, violently assaulted. It stays with them their whole lives. I agree with what she says, but she says that and then turns around and gives the defendant, the criminal, a slap on the wrist. And if you look at the records, possession of child pornography, the national average is 68 months. That's every federal district judge in the country. What is Judge Jackson's average? 29.2 months. She sentences 57% lower than the national average, 57%. Even more disturbing, distribution. The national average for distributing child porn, videos of little children being sexually assaulted, the national average is 135 months. 11 years. That's a long sentence because it's a horrible crime. Her average is 71.9 months. That's 47% less, but this is even more striking when you realize that the mandatory minimum for distributing child porn is 60 months. That under federal law, you can't go below 60 months. What that means is that judges across the country on average sentence those distributing child porn to 75 months longer than the mandatory minimum. And Judge Jackson sentences them on average to 11.9 months longer. Now, the Democrats suggest this is cherry picking. This is based on every single child pornography case she's decided. And by the way, we just last week after the hearing got information on another case, United States versus Weeks, of an individual who raped his 13-year-old niece. Judge Jackson sentenced him to half what the prosecutors wanted because he failed to register on a sex registry and went to work at a daycare. While he was released early because of Judge Jackson's sentence, he committed another sexual assault, a rape. Again, she had him before her, and again, she sentenced him to half what the prosecutors sought. This is a pattern. Now, Democratic senators like to say they don't want to abolish the police. But I'll tell you what, if Judge Jackson is confirmed, her record demonstrates that it is 100% certain she will vote to overturn the death penalty, and that repeatedly she will vote to overturn strict sentences on violent criminals, to release violent criminals from jail, to overturn strict punishments on sex offenders. And my Democratic colleagues like to say when crime is skyrocketing, when murder rates are skyrocketing, when carjacking is skyrocketing, when sexual assaults are skyrocketing, my Democratic colleagues say it's not my fault. Well, I'll tell you what, when you vote to confirm justices who release criminals over and over and over again in a way that is wildly out of the mainstream, it is the Democrats' fault.